Okay, before we get any further, we need to mark some CG points. Okay, from the very tip, we're going to go 7.5 inches. Now I've got my square set on 90 degrees. And I'll go across and make me a mark right here. And our variable place is the very extreme back, furthest we can go. Ain't much margin for error here. Is 8 1/4. Now that's way backwards. So I'm going to say it's going to balance out most likely between 8 and 7.5. Did I say 7 1/4 a while ago? Well, it's 7.5. That's around, let me see here, that'd be 190 millimeters to, let me see, about 210 millimeters maximum. Somewhere in the middle of that range. It depends on how you like to fly. But I'm going to say it's going to be somewhere in the middle. So that's the way I'm going to balance this one. Somewhere in the middle of these 2 points right here. And I'm going to transfer them on this side too, because I do a finger balance. Okay, fellas, we got a wing coming together here. So I'm going to put me some color on it before I cover it. I want to seal this foam board so it don't get wet, because we're going to have to nose dive, skid land, you know. I myself, I like orange and yellow because I can see them. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to building pretty. I might even throw a little blue painter's tape on this one, and I'm going to do this before I cover it. Now, I seal mine with packing tape, and the tape I use is a little bit heavier than normal packing tape, and the reason being is that's what the Dollar Tree sells. And I can get this for $1 a roll, where if you go to Staples or any office supply or something, you're going to pay up to $20 for a 6-pack, and the cheapest I've seen is like, I've seen some, it was $9.98 I think for 6 rolls. So I buy these at the Dollar Tree for $1, and I have seen them in other dollar stores as well for $1. So that's what I use. I'm gonna pretty it up and cover it, and we'll see, and I'll show it. Okay, we got our colors on here where we can tell what direction I'm going. And on the bottom I put a big old A. Why? I don't know. But now I've got that, I'm going to go ahead and seal it with my clear. While I boogie a little. Alright, there's my tape ball. Not a bad job, if I do say myself. Nice and slick. Both sides sealed. It's pretty good. I got a gap or two here and yonder. Now I cut this in where hold it down in it to help seal that too as well. Alright, now all I need to do is put the ailerons on and electronics, and motor, and away we go. Okay. It's been a few days since I've been back over here. Just want to do a little recap. We've got our two top ones cut out. The other ones are solid. We filled the inside with one layer of foam around our carbon fiber supports, running this together and lengthwise. Make it very, very strong. Then on top of that, we've laid another layer of foam. And then the outer sandwich. Beveled the edges, pulled it down tight, and we've got an airfoil. Now, for common sense purposes, we're going to put our strap here for our battery, and if it was me, you can do as you want. You might want to take some popsicle sticks and line your battery section. Well, I cut it out where we have room to do that, just barely. We have a little more room lengthwise than we do this widthwise. Excuse me. And we have room here for speed control in one direction and your receiver in the other direction. I'm trying to look and think at the same time. Christmas, you know. Alright, now, to make sure you've done this right, we've put extreme packing tape over the joints. Okay? And we lapped it down, and then went across the joint, lapped it down, went across the joint, lapped it down, went across the joint, and across the bottom of the battery tray, across the joint, and then we went down both leading edges with extreme packing tape. Now, I dressed mine up a little bit. I put a orange on one side and a yellow on the other side for my orientation, because I'm getting a little older. I wear glasses. I need to see all the orientation I can get. Now, I did put some blue painter's tape here. Then I covered both sides of the wing with a heavy clear packing tape. Now, I get my packaging tape, my clear packaging tape, at the Dollar Tree. It's heavier than normal packing tape. It's thicker. And it's cheaper. I can get a big roll of this. This one's almost, well, it's over halfway gone. I can get a big roll for $1. And at the office supplies places, you get 6 rolls for $20 or $15. Where I can get 6 rolls for $6. So, and it's heavier, thicker. It gives me a little more support, a little more water resistance. Now on the bottom, for my orientation, I got my orange and my yellow, but I've also got a striped A with the painter's tape, and then covered it with the clear packaging tape. And you can see my extreme packing tape up the joint. Now, even though I got tape on them joints, I used that old mighty hot glue gun down the open seam on this side. Now, I stick it right in between that foam, and it'll melt its way through. And I inject that whole crack with hot glue. And I seem to get the best the best strength from that, instead of just putting a little line on there and sticking it together. I'll inject it just like with a needle. I'll run it into that track till it burns away through a little bit, and then squeeze that trigger in it, and you can actually see it flowing in the direction of the cracks. And that really works good for me. Just be careful, don't put too much glue, because you do have to watch for weights. Now, I'm going to start on my ailerons. Okay? Okay, we've got one that's glued up. That's 3 ailerons. I'm going to glue the last one here. Oops, I'm going to need a little glue stick. My glue sticks, I also get those at the Dollar Tree. I get 100 for $1. That's a pretty good price. I'm just laying a stream of glue very thin, because I use a high temperature gun, so it kind of burns into it. We line up the last one that's got the paper on the outside. Come on, baby, move for me. And it ain't gonna do it. Yeah, moved enough. Now, here's the question. You know, on our outer wings, we brought it down and met in the middle, 2 inches off the end. So what do we do with the ailerons? Because we can't tape it on the top, because it'll do the same. Should we have met them like we did on the plane? Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. But I didn't. Now I'm deciding whether I want to cut this back 2 inches. How far would that be? Let's see here. 2 inches. I don't use pencil mark, because if I use clear tape it'll show. Even if I don't use clear tape it'll show. So I'll just lightly score it. Okay, that'd be 2 inches off of it, and that'd leave me that much aileron. Well, you know what? I would still be getting tip wash, because that'd be 2 inches off here. I think I'll cut down and bevel these and connect the whole thing. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I realized I made a mistake. So, what I've done, or what I'm going to do, is on the short edge of the aileron, make sure it's short edge, because you'd be wrong. Going to go back 2 inches, just like we did on our wing. And then 90 degrees off the short angle side. Now, this don't have to be perfect. This is just a reference point, okay? But it does need to be close. Okay. Get straight as I can. No pencil marks, just a score mark. Now, what I did over here, I took my little screwdriver, and since there's no paper involved, the glue can be broken loose. I just line up my marks, up, push my screwdriver into it. See? Now, I basically cut that in half. Now, I just separate the foam by forcing the glue joint. And take your time and just keep pushing and wiggling, and believe it or not, it'll break loose. So, if you make a mistake, which I've been known to do that, you ain't never done that, huh? I tend to like to figure out ways of correcting it without having to do it all over. Okay. That one's loose. See, we're loose to our brake malt. Now we find a weak spot here. There it is. Force it all the way through. Pull and wiggle it down to break the glue loose. And we have it. Now, we won't push the screwdriver through the foam, see? Break out the bad piece. Now, we can have our bevel plumb to the wingtip. Ain't gonna whip me, they're gonna whip you. Nah.